Alright, good afternoon and welcome to this video about getting Spectranet finally on the pick and place machine and the reflow oven, you know, the production line as I call it. It is a production line, it's just not completely automated. It's built up of the pick and place machine, of course, and the reflow oven, and then some manual finishing with soldering the connectors on the boards. For example, the Pro 1 interface, which I'm already doing for a couple of months now. But now we're getting over to Spectranet, and I already got lots of PCBs here. Let me show you them. I also got enough cases, as you can see here. I got lots of the ones with the hole on the top and the closed ones as well. I got even more downstairs. Some other reason for creating these videos is that I promised some people on the EV blog forum about this pick and place machine that I would make some more videos, and I still haven't done that because of time. That's the main issue. So I just want to create this video and show you how it's all done, what's involved with using a pick and place machine like this one, and that it's not as easy as you might want to think it is, because a pick and place machine, a budget version like this, is not a completely automated machine. It's not a robot like the very expensive room filling machines that large companies have installed. It's a machine that needs to be handled gently. You need to be right next to it when it's running, because things can go wrong. It can get stuck. Sometimes the nozzle or the prick will get stuck, and they might bend, which causes a lot of work on the machine when it happens. So it's very important to catch those errors and push the button here if needed. So that's why you always have to be next to the machine when it's running. I try to be next to the machine. I try to do some manual work at the same time, but I'm very close to the machine whenever I'm running it. So this is the final board. This is the one from Bill & Smith. It's a 4-layer board. You cannot see it from the side, of course, but it's quite a complex board, and because it is 4-layer and it got lots of tiny parts, tinier than the ones I used to use for other interfaces, there are lots of more parts compared to, for example, the one I just showed, the Pro 1 interface, the FMC Pro 1 interface. So I think it got about double the amount of parts compared to this one, which means it also costs about twice the time to assemble one of these, especially if you do them manually. And I already did 60 of them, but I had to decide to stop that because spending a couple of days on getting them on a pick and place machine will speed up the assembly of this tremendously. So it's about time. And of course, I know very well that I've been keeping people waiting for a couple of months. I still have some orders from August. It's now almost December. I'm very ashamed of that, but the reason for that is that I just needed to get on with lots of other work as well. This is the thing I'm doing for a living, as you may know. So I'm doing this full time, and I just need to get lots of sales to pay for the house, for the car, for the food, for the kids, you know. It's very important. So that's why I couldn't just stop all of the other work and spend a couple of times of getting these on the pick and place machine. I could have made them manually, but then everything else would have been delayed much more than it is already. So that's why I didn't do that. But now I found the time, and we're going to do this in a couple of steps. The first step will be getting the reels on the pick and place machine. I will show you in a minute. And then the second part is creating the configuration file with the positions of all the parts and the orientations of all the parts, which is not too much work, because I found out that the board files that I got from Dylan also contain one of the XY files, so that I can use that. Just have to most probably do some manual copy pasting to get it in the format that the pick and place machine needs. Yeah, I think it's a comma separated format or something like that. And then when that's done, I will read in the file, and I will do a step-by-step placement of all the parts individually, because I need to check if they're all positioned correctly, if they got the correct orientation, because I found out that it's very easy to make a mistake with orientation of the parts. Also I need to check if the camera of the pick and place machine will detect the exact position of the bigger parts, like the chips, the ICs. I get some with 100 pins, for example, and they might be too big for the camera to pick up. I've seen some issues with that before. Maybe I can do some tweaking on the pick and place machine for that. I have to check. But on other boards I do those chips manually. But I would like to try to get them assembled, the bigger parts as well, because those are the parts that need some more time. 100 pins. But I can do them manually if I need to. So that's not the issue. I can place them manually and then they go into the oven and it's baked automatically. So that's there's one more reason for having some parts to be put on manually, and that's because my pick and place machine currently only has I think 24 reel places. I cannot put on more reels than 24. So I cannot put on all the parts that I need for Spectranet, and the main reason for that is that the Spectranet uses other size of packages than I use for other interfaces that I make on a pick and place machine. So I just added the reels which the Spectranet has the most parts of, and I think some bigger parts like some capacitors and maybe the voltage regulator I will put on manually. But you can see, let me show you again how many parts are on here. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 big chips, a voltage regulator, 4 big capacitors, lots of small SMD parts, and it's not the most complex interface or product to assemble on a pick and place machine, but still it's a lot of work. So let me do a close-up of the machine and then we can continue. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to show you is which reels need to be installed. So I think these are the ones which I'm holding here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them. And you can see all the other ones are installed already, which are these ones. So we're going to do that, and it's kind of tricky because you have to follow the exact alignment under the bars here and over some others, which is hard to see, and then you have to pull the tape from the reels and to this pulley here, which will turn when a part has been picked, and when the reel is forwarded with the head. It's done by the head. There's a small pin here, a prick it's called, which forwards the reel. And at the same time this is going to turn a bit. There's a motor somewhere. It's underneath here, I think. So that's done automatically. Oh, here's the one. It's underneath there. So let's do that. All right. So here we go. Let's just get on with the first reel here. I don't know which part it is. We'll look into that later because of course it's very important to know which part is on which reel. That's one thing that will go into the configuration file. There's some sticky stuff here which I need to remove first. I don't want it to get on the machine, of course. And then we're going to route this reel here. Oh, and we need to keep this larger tape because it will get connected to the pulley here. But let's go and put this underneath, and you can already see it's quite hard to reach all the specific places you need to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab it with this tool. Am I going the correct way? Yes, I am. And the last part is getting it on this spring here and through the two bolts, and it should go smoothly because if there's any pressure it will damage the reel and can get stuck, which causes all kinds of troubles with the head. It will move the reel itself, or So there are no parts on this starting tape of the reel because this is only for connecting it into the machine, of course, and it's very useful. So when you buy a complete reel like this one, I don't think it's real, no, it's a complete reel, so it's 4,000 or 5,000 parts. This one is 5,000. These are the, let me check, 49.9 ohms resistors, which are used a lot. I think 4 on each board. Complete reels often cheaper than just buying 1,000 or 2,000 instead. Okay, we're almost done. The last part, you can see I've pulled the tape. Oh, that's not correct. That's how you make mistakes, because the tape has to go underneath the first bar here as well. And it's quite hard, but we can manage. I think we can. I think I need a tweezer. Let me grab one. You always need tweezers with this kind of work. Lots of things. Where is that? Yeah, there it is. It's almost noticeable. It's because I'm standing in the light myself, so that's my own fault. Alright, now I can put it back. It can go underneath the last bar here, and then I can connect it to the pulley. Please, come on. Yep. And you need to take the time for that, or you need to put a knot in this, because it has to be connected. In this tiny cut on the side of the pulley, and if I move it, it will pull on the cover of the tape, and that's what I want. So when I do one turn, after I'm doing one turn, I can cut the excessive amount of tape here, because otherwise the other pieces of tape might get caught in this knot here. So that's important. I've seen it a couple of times and I don't like that. So let's continue with the other reels. Of course I will speed up the video once we've done a couple. This is a re-reeled reel, so it's not a complete one. I'm looking for the start of the tape here. Oh, it's here. Look, it's at the side, but it put on the sticker over the side of the tape here. So this one has been re-reeled, and it's for parts that you don't need that much, but also are quite expensive. And getting these labels off from Farnell in this case is quite important, because if you don't do that, the reels might get stuck to each other. But I still need to know which part it is, of course, so I'm not getting off the complete label here, and we'll still have a part of it connected, which shows the exact type of the part. I know this is time consuming, but I will, when I'm editing the video, I will speed it up, you know. So what I often see is that when I'm pulling the plastic reels here, I often see some damage on the strip, so I need to gently move that piece of metal a bit up, so it will not damage that strip anymore. But it's quite hard to do. I don't want to damage the machine in any way, of course, but I don't want to get the strips caught in any way. And it's still not very easy to pull it, so I wonder if it's smooth enough. I think it's smooth enough now. Just the first part has been damaged a bit, so the other side needs to go up a bit as well. Alright. And I made another mistake, so I have to pull this back. I think it's just the tape of this reel here that needs to get back. I'm not sure what is happening here. Oh, the tape is now... Okay, so only the reel itself got underneath the first bar, but the covering tape didn't, so you have to pull it out again and do it again. So we're on the right side now, we can go on with the rest. It's very easy to accidentally tear up the covering tape, so you have to be careful with that. It's quite bad for your back because I'm leaning forward the whole time, which costs quite a lot of energy, but that's what comes with the machine, so we just have to do it. Right, so that's installed, and as you can see, I'm putting the tapes inside here, the reels inside here. That's just an aligning hole that will put the tape underneath the table that way, and I can cut it underneath the machine. So that's the way that this machine gets rid of the piece of tape that I used. The only thing that needs to be kept in mind is that the nozzles are very close to the board here, so you need to be careful that the tapes are not getting upwards anyway. Okay, more to go. I wish all the reels were made of paper instead of plastic, but I don't have the choice really, so just go on with it. Sometimes you can feel that the pulley doesn't have much tension on the bar here, so I just need to add a bit of more tension. That's what the tools are for, that were included with the machine. You just have to feel this piece is getting pulled with when the bar is moving, when the motor is moving, so this is a bit better. It's important because otherwise the tape will stick on the reels and won't be pulled away from the. Right, so I think we need five still to go, so just have to go on. Okay, and for the last reel I'm using another angle for the video. Instead of you watching my head or my shoulder, might be a bit better. I got some more reels in this machine. Those are spare reels for other parts here. Oh, what's going on? Okay, there's another sticker in the way here, I think. It's stuck out, stuck for some reason. Have to check what it is. It's really taken a big hit off my back, quite a lot of work, but there's really no other way of doing this. Maybe from the other side, but you can see I'm using the machine at a wall here, so we have to do it this way. There's another version of this machine, by the way, which also has reels on the back, but I didn't buy that one because I don't have the space for that. I just needed this machine here with the about 30 reels on the left side. If I had more space, I might have bought the other one. Right, so let's do a close-up of the new installed reels. You can see the difference in part size here. So these are the 0805 parts, and here are some voltage regulators here, so those are bigger. We've got some transistors here which look different as well. But the difference between the 0805 and the 0603 is quite noticeable, as you can see here. So, and they're just a lot smaller. So the next question is if the nozzles of this machine here can actually pick up the smaller parts as well. I think it will not be a problem. Maybe if I'm using the machine from Spectranet, I can exchange the nozzle, especially for that. That could be an idea, but for now, this is it. And as you can see, it's quite a ingenious system here. The bar at the back, I'm not sure if you can see it. It's in between here, that bar. That's the first bar that the tape of the reels will go underneath. Then the tape will go into these aligners, but the transparent tape on top of the reel is pulled back with this pulleys here. So this bar is rotating. So the forwarding is done by this part in the back here. There's a small pin underneath. You can almost see it. It's done electronically, of course. Whenever the software says that one of the reels need to be forwarded one piece. So that's all done by this head. It's quite a fast machine. I haven't even used it at full speed. I'm only using it at half speed. And for me that's good enough, because I can imagine that using it on a higher speed will create some new problems. And it's fast enough now because I can only put for example, three of these boards in the reflow oven there. And after that, I need to finish them with connectors and testing, you know. So that's enough for now. The next thing is creating the configuration file for the software of the pick and place machine, which will be run on the very tiny machine underneath here. And then we're going to do some test runs with the Spectranet boards. So we'll just grab one. I will put some tape on it instead of solder paste, because when doing test runs, you always need some reruns of some parts to place them correctly. That's nothing new. So that will take some time. I'm using new Loctite lead-free solder for the pick and place. I haven't even opened this bottle, it's still closed. The cool stuff of this solder paste is you can use it in room temperatures. You don't have to cool it when you're not using it. So that's a good thing. People are very optimistic about that Loctite solder paste. So I'm really looking forward using that. We have the Spectranet, let me check, the Spectranet stencil somewhere here. I think I need to improve the stencil a bit because I wasn't very happy with the results with the first attempts with these. So what I encountered was that you're putting over it, you need to have some components in the corners here as well, because otherwise you will push the stencil downwards and that's no good. But as you can see here, there's a board underneath. You can see all the gold-plated copper right through the stencil holes, and that's exactly what the stencil is used for. So you put solder paste on there, and all the holes will be filled with solder paste, which will stick on the board, of course, which is needed for doing this for pick and place machines. I hope I will get the Spectranet batch ready in 2 or 3 days now, but I have lots of other things to do as well. But I'm doing my best, and I'm really looking forward to getting you your Spectranet interfaces. So thank you for watching for now, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye!